Students are given 4 hours to complete the exam and are free to spend as much or as little time as they'd like on the sections of the examination. Many students find it helpful to read the essay questions first and then go back and complete the multiple choice questions. The content of the multiple choice questions can be helpful in answering the essay questions. Often, a sentence from a multiple choice question can be used as an introductory sentence for the essay. The terminology used in the multiple choice questions can be useful in formulating ideas for the essay. Take a watch with you and budget your time. This is a suggested timeline. Leave at least 1 hour at the end for the case study. There are 70 multiple choice questions. There are more questions in domains 2 and 5. This should be considered when prioritizing your study time. Some of the questions are very lengthy. If you are not sure of the answer, go back and reread the question and determine exactly what it is asking. Underline the main points of the question. Some questions are content dealing with knowledge of reading instruction. Others are classroom scenarios, questions determining if you know how to apply the knowledge in a classroom situation. There are no questions which will ask you to match a word with a definition or define terminology. The questions are practical common sense questions. When answering, do not limit yourself to something you've read in a book or learned in a methodologies class. If you've had an experience as an aide, parent volunteer, or helping your own child in reading, this will give you practical knowledge to draw from. Draw on things you remember your own child's teacher using in a classroom. Be sure that your answers match the prompt they have given you or the question they have asked. The websites listed are helpful in practicing sample questions. The essay questions for domains 2 and 5 are longer. Keep this in mind when prioritizing your study time. You will be asked to analyze the information they provide and identify the needs of either a class or a student. After identifying the needs, you will need to identify instructional strategies, activities, and interventions to meet the need. You then need to give rationale as to why you chose those particular interventions for the identified need. Be sure your strategies and activities match the identified needs. Example, if the identified need is phonemic awareness, don't give activities that instruct in concepts of print. Remember AIR, analyze, intervention, rationale. You will be given assessments, data, antecedent records, surveys, etc. to analyze and then asked to identify a strength or a need of a student. Your task is to identify the strength or need. Tell some strategies or activities that you would use for intervention and tell why you chose those activities. Be sure your strategies and activities match the identified needs or strengths. When answering written questions, it is important that you be specific and give examples of how you would instruct. Do not use generalizations or assume the graders will know what you mean. Be explicit. Write your explanations or activities as if you were leaving plans for a substitute. Be sure your activities relate to the skills you are teaching. One of the biggest obstacles many have to overcome is test anxiety. Being prepared is the first step in alleviating anxiety. Study hard and then relax the night before the test. Last-minute cramming can be confusing and often does more harm than good. Get plenty of sleep. Leave your personal problems, concerns, and distractions out in the hallway and focus in on the exam. The most important thing is to believe in yourself. Know that you have the knowledge and the ability to do well on the RICA